Scoundrels web series and podcast is filmed and recorded in their ship, the Centurion Vulture, and may contain language not suitable for all. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Scoundrels, y'all. We are broadcasting from the Centurion Vulture. I am CG.
I am Paul Bannister.
Curtis Wayne Miller, standing by.
We are three grown-ass men assembled here once more to discuss Star Wars. And of course, that continues to be about Andor. I will start off by saying I'm going to stop. I just want to qualify this, and then we can move into more plot points. Andor still rules. Everything I've said in all the previous episodes covering the show, the last two episodes. To be clear, this is going to cover episodes 7 and 8.
Yeah, we're doing our best.
We're going to cover two episodes in this one Scoundrels episode. But, so we don't have to repeat too much of ourselves. It's just great. Every comment about the writing, the acting, the production, the costume design, the set design, it's top notch. It's as good as it could be. I couldn't be more thrilled. I'm still just thrilled with it.
Yeah. I have reason to believe it may not suck.
Yeah. It's it continues to be deeply satisfying to have a story this rich and this thought through and continuing even in the 8th episode, unfolding in ways that are fun and a little surprising.
Yeah. I mean, like I always say, the stakes, it's like for a story that you already know about and you know how it's going to end, you really feel the tension, like the anxiety, the tension of this oppressive empire. Mm-hmm. They did a great job of like you always mention the Joker, like how you see, you understand how this guy became the Joker.
Shit. Yeah,
I feel the same way in this show for the sense of you can see how the rebellion really started because it's like I feel like I'm anxious when I watch this show.
Oh yeah,
and it's like. The editing is really good. Like every aspect of it, you can just tell Gilroy's doing. Like you said, you watched that or listened to that podcast he was on. The focus on this show and just the storytelling is so good.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm right there with you. And these last two episodes, it just keeps building and building.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah. I was actually bummed when he went to prison.
Yeah, same. I was like, seriously?
Well,
just going to the store? He just got done boofing this chick, and now he's going to end up in jail?
He did make love, didn't he?
He's making love. But it's kind of full circle because, honestly, because of what they did, that heist created this. It's what Lutheran wanted. He wanted the Emperor to push harder.
Which is kind of like a controversial way to...
Well, clearly, because Homegirl, Mon Mothma, is not stoked on the approach.
Well, it's interesting. It's like
Mon Mothma's not.
Yeah. No, well, she's scared shitless. She's like, I'm the one that's like right in the middle of this.
Yeah.
She's thinking, like, you know what? We can't hide forever.
She's thinking ahead about those Bothans.
Yeah.
And this is what the one girl, Luthen's like assistant girl.
Yeah. What's her? It almost sounded like they were calling her Leia.
Yeah. Is that bird's name Leia?
It's not.
I think they're saying Clay. I think there's like a consonant before the L.
Yeah. But how she was telling what's her Vel? It's like, this is how rebellions are won.
Yeah, right.
It's like, it's ugly. It's an ugly business. But it's kind of full circle when I get back to the point of, like, they did this heist. He thought, I'm going to take my money. I'm going to run. I'm going to go live in paradise.
Yeah, right.
I've got all these credits. So the actions he took led him to go to prison. Basically, because of what he did, he was just kind of minding his own business. It's like, I didn't do anything. But I think it's just full circle of him getting right back into the rebellion.
Well, then they're clearly making an effort to give him a justified story arc for why he's now going to believe in the cause, because now he's in this imperial prison and he's doing all, he's like, this is fucking
and it's
crazy.
Actually, I didn't even think about it, but that's smart.
Yeah. I mean, I was immediately, after watching these episodes, thought of Gilroy, hey bud, in that the Mark Maron interview when he referred to this being, like, he was trying to make Andor his War and Peace.
Yeah.
And you think about the scale of the story, and it kind of holds up. I mean, think about the many layers. It's almost Game of Thrones-esque in the number of characters.
Oh my goodness.
And how the allegiances are sort of blurry. You've got Luthen, and then you've got Saw Gerrera, and you've got Mon Mothma.
Yeah,
so it's like even the rebels aren't unified as a group. There's still disagreements within them, and that's really smart and really interesting because there's these sort of, everyone wants to take the Empire down, but the best way to do it and how to go about it is clearly up for debate.
Yeah.
And that really involves storytelling. When it's not just good guys, bad guys, but it's like good guys, but different types of good guys with different goals and motivations, and what's going to make them finally work together.
Yeah. Great characters.
It's super interesting.
Like, that's what I love about George R.R. Martin's stuff is everyone's gray. Like, even the person that is kind of the best is still kind of like, dude, I don't know, you did do that though.
Yeah, right.
Wow, yeah, great character. I love it. You're right. It's fucking great.
It's really smart. It's super involved. I mean, the storytelling component, to be able to have it be this intricate, and even with the internal workings of how the Empire works, and the way they do these investigations and the politics of it, it's very in depth. I continue to be completely thrilled with the levels involved. I will say, as time goes on, I can totally understand how this is going to eliminate an entire section of the Star Wars fan base.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is very micro-detailed positioning. Now, I'm like you. Because of this, it makes the tension that much more palpable.
Yeah.
The payoff for doing the story like this is that when you get to new developments, it's a thrill. You're like, oh, shit.
I just don't see how I could see how like, it's not for me, but I don't see how it would be it's so smart and well done.
Yeah.
I don't see how it could be divisive.
I know. Well, I guess if you want to
It
just
is
watch
different.
lightsabers and action sequences every 10 minutes.
I do love a fucking lightsaber.
It's great.
Yeah. No one loves that shit more than me, but like I can vibe out on this, man.
I think that's why what makes this so good is because all the aspects we love about Star Wars, the Force, Jedi, Siths, like to have none of that so far.
Yeah, I mean, we
series,
just have heard Palpatine's name, and even him being talked about feels powerful.
Or like we talked about it with the TIE fighters, but in the 7th episode, that moment where the Star Destroyer flies overhead, it's like that was like super ominous and dramatic.
Fucking Star Destroyer.
All it took was 5 seconds of a Star Destroyer flying overhead to create maximum tension.
It was cool when Luthen went to go see
like,
Saw.
oh shit, these dudes are here.
You see the X-Wings, but they don't have the rebellion.
Oh, yeah.
It's in my nose. I was going to ask about that.
That's
and they're all cool. They're all greased up.
They're all greased up. They look a little run down.
Do we think that that's like... I immediately went into this, like, who invented the X-Wing? Were these like original
just building them?
ships that they just modded, or
that's a good question.
Probably.
Like, I wonder
there's
if we'll
probably
learn
some
that.
stuff. I remember on the ILM Light Magic,
Yeah, George
and
talks about it.
The first guys that were mating it, the thought process. I mean, this could have been changed throughout,
sure.
but the thought process was like the Empire just has really cool things, like really good stuff just off the assembly line.
Yeah.
And the Empires are essentially like hot rods. You know how much
got it. Yeah, that's
they're
right.
modded out, and they have like specialty items.
See, like
added. Just kind of like the Centurion Vulture is modded out modifications. But you know how much George loves cars.
Yeah.
Hi, George. But yeah, dude, that was their thought process when they were making them. Who knows what they're thinking about now, like what the real Star Wars canon
Well, that's kind
is.
of what I'm getting at, is the implication, and I'm sure we'll find out in future episodes, that ultimately Saw Gerrera and his group, because again, it's still early days, there's factions of the unofficial rebellion. And
which is also fucking intelligent.
it's super smart. It's like we're seeing who initially started to arm and create all the resources that became the organized fleet of the rebellion.
Yeah, man.
Right now, he's hiding in a cave and this, that, and the other.
Like a real rebellion's probably that messy.
Yeah.
Ask John Adams.
Well,
he
it's
knows. There's a real one.
You right.
Well, it's like it was Saw tell like how you're just hiding, and it's like he's like, I'm scared, I'm a coward. It's like because the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
It's like any small movement. It's like it's this interesting moment where if I make one wrong move, just like the girl trying to contact Luke, I mean they jumped on her ass. Like it's just the smart character development and how they're kind of intertwining, like how Karn and like Amiro, I think her name is. I think she's a cool character.
Yeah.
Like just kind of a hard ass. Just
Dude,
But just the character development, I've never, like I think I mentioned before, where it's like you'll have a villain, there's a villain, and then there's a hero, and he's the hero because he's the good guy, and this is the villain because they're the bad guy. But you're getting such in-depth character development in this show where you're seeing all aspects of them. And like even with like the new prison, how about our boy Snoke showing up, Andy, in this last episode?
Oh fuck yeah!
Fucking Smeagol.
I was like, is
that
that
son of a
Snoke?
bitch is
Andy
he's
Serkis.
He's so powerful.
Andy
Yeah,
Serkis,
dude.
that dude's the best.
Dude, they've got this. He's like, yeah, I'll come back.
I love
Yeah.
Snoke, by the way.
Dude, he was
Yeah.
great. I mean, Andy,
Circus is fuck. God damn.
dude,
fucking
he's
genius.
got. Oh, hey-oh.
Hey, Otis.
One of the things in the sort of, to your point about the development of the characters, the Karn character is getting really interesting to me.
Yes.
In the beginning, I was like, I recognize his importance. It's one-dimensional and annoying. But like in the 7th episode, as I started watching it, I made a note of like, is he going to eventually team up with, what'd you call it, Madeira? The
Marrow?
Yeah.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And then literally in the next episode, she calls him in and talked. And it went back to, I thought of your initial
That's
theory,
what I was-
which was
yeah.
that
Well, I
he'll
don't know.
eventually come around. And
It's
then
a
when I
thought.
saw them in the room working together, I was like, oh no, that's not what it's going to be. They're going to be the two-headed monster on the Empire side. But then when he gets kind of rejected to be a part
Yeah.
of it, I went back and forth.
I went back to yours.
Yeah, I guess my point is within 2 episodes, they led you one way and then they led you another. And that's part of the nuanced
I
storytelling.
was back and forth,
Yeah.
even though one of my initial thoughts
keep you
was,
guessing.
this dude's such a hard ass
Yeah.
Yeah.
that he might end up being less of a
Well,
hard
clearly
ass.
the Empire's not doing him any favors. He's got his heart in the right place. He's working
Yep.
real hard to catch this dude for the good of the Empire. And every time he does that, he keeps getting fucked
Yeah.
by the Empire.
I
So
think-
it feels like Curtis. I'm with CG. I'm of your mind now, which
I'm
is that
more on your side.
he's
Oh.
eventually going to get to this thing where he's going to have to choose between his heart-on for catching Andor versus the experience of the Empire
Yeah.
screwing him at
Damn.
every fucking turn.
What would suck about living in the Star Wars universe at that point is like you can't go and hang out and chill and just let everything blow over.
Yeah.
Because obviously these dickheads are going to fuck with you, meaning
Yep.
the Empire.
Yep.
And then if you fight, then that also sucks.
You
And
gotta
being
know
in
what-
the
yeah.
Empire sucks.
Yeah.
Well, there was no
Kinda like
Rebel
living
Alliance
now.
right now.
Yeah.
It's like living in
I
America
mean, for all we
right
know,
now.
there could be a scene play out in the finale where, Karn and Andor are like in some sort of cat and mouse moment physically
Yeah.
in the room together, and it could be the kind of thing where the Empire leaves Karn behind or lets him be in jeopardy, and Andor helps him.
Yeah.
And then he's sort of sitting there like, we'll see, this dude just
Kinda like a
saved my
fugitive
ass, and these
situation.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, how
that I'm
is
working
Andor
for.
going to get out of that fucking
Well, that's what I
prison?
love about it. I don't know what to expect next.
I know.
And like you say, sit like where you're not thinking about anything else. You're just watching the show, and the story's so good. But I don't know what's going to come next. And I think that's the most exciting
Yeah.
part about it is that, how is Andor going to get out? Obviously,
Definitely didn't
he's
see
got a
the prison
6-year
thing coming.
sentence.
No.
And you said it's like the first year of his life, and then the next one's the next 4 years because this is 5 years before Rogue One.
Yeah.
So I'm just like so curious and like what's going on in the prison. Like obviously the guy who's on his line
Yep.
has some kind of hand or like
Yep.
sign language to another a group of like it's just smart
Oh, yeah, there's
storytelling
stuff going
and
on.
tactile
It's
as
so
fuck.
detailed. I mean, I kept thinking that in the prison episode think about the levels of thought they put together for that episode. They came up with a whole prison structure with a hierarchy and the whole thing with the floor. Like it's just really inspired. There's a whole if anyone could take the
It just
idea of that
seems
they could just
daunting.
take the prison idea and turn that into a whole standalone sci-fi movie if they wanted
Yeah.
to.
The whole thing seems daunting.
Yeah. We're about to get some sort of badass sci-fi prison break
Yeah.
built into the first season.
Well, the detail, it's just smart writing where, and there's one moment, and I think it's going to be important, when he's first being sent to his prison section,
Yeah,
and
right.
the guy was late, like, oh, where's your part? Oh, he's late. He's dealing
Right.
with someone on the floor. And it might be nothing. I don't know. But it's interesting watching Andor kind of take everything in. He's a very cool character where he's very sly. He's like, I got to figure a way out of this.
Yeah.
He's very good at
Right.
taking everything in. And I feel like that's going to be an important aspect, or maybe not. And
He's a
that's,
fucking survivor, man.
Yeah.
yeah. The great part about
Until
the
he isn't.
storytelling is that with Karn, is he going to be a part of the rebellion? Is he part of the Is he going to be
Yeah.
a head honcho for the Empire? I mean, it's just
but you're right.
And we
that
don't
is
know who
what's
his
fun.
uncle is yet, right?
We don't know what.
No.
His
Uh,
uncle?
Uncle Harlow.
He
They
must
just-
be in the Empire.
Yeah,
though.
they just imply he's like a connected high up dude somewhere in the Empire, basically. He's got connections. But you're right. I mean, that's part of the genius of the writing is, as much as I think the three of us in this moment lean towards Karn ultimately being good, I would not be surprised at all if it doesn't go that way,
No.
and he ends up being the villain of the whole series.
Right.
Like
It would still work.
It would still work.
I mean, it'd still be awesome.
Yeah.
Still be awesome.
Or he could be like, like a gray bad guy.
Who knows?
But this is the genius of the writing.
Yeah.
We're all sitting here genuinely speculating
And
without
excited.
having any idea how it's going to play out. And I keep telling myself, too, I had a moment watching it last night. I was like, 8 episodes. Damn, there's only a couple left. I was like, no. We've got 4 left in the first
4
season
more hours,
alone.
basically,
This is
yeah.
fucking
Yeah, it's great.
badass. There's like 3 or 4 whole little mini movies in this first season.
I feel
by
like
itself.
I have to watch every episode twice
Yes.
if I can.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be one of those things that's gonna be fun to watch back because
I
of,
can't watch it stoned. That's the thing I've also already. It's like Game of Thrones was like that too. There's too many characters.
You
and
can't.
I don't get stoned and watch Andor because if I do, I'm not like following it well.
Maybe
enough.
there's like one stoned viewing, one sober viewing.
I definitely have to watch it the
Ooh,
first time
I like that.
without that in my system because I feel like I need to be on top of the character. And honestly, it's
Maybe
not like
vice versa.
but it's
not
so
work.
pretty. You could also watch it stoned.
Tactile.
Correct.
On the
totally.
other side of this,
Oh yeah, I mean,
being
I'll burn them down and watch them a million times later.
It's so
I'm gonna get
tactile.
back on the
Like,
CBD.
just the,
Yeah.
the look, everything, even the way
So
their
tactile.
cells look, the way the plate folds in and the food, like it's
Yeah.
just screams Star Wars originality, still in the world, but all original things.
The
Yeah.
little brief beach planet he was on when he
Yeah.
got arrested. I remember I thought about you and
Still
how we
felt
always
Star Wars.
bitch about Canto Bight. I was
Yeah.
like, this is a great example of how you can depict a more lively recreational setting that doesn't look like a fucking terrible cheesy cartoon moment. Like,
Right.
if they had expanded that moment, you know, there were like people in costumes on the beach or whatever else, and
Yeah.
at no point did I question the validity of that set
No.
and that section of the
There's
story.
never been
yeah,
that
they do a
section.
pretty good job of pushing it without pushing it into like
Yeah.
I don't dare I say prequel territory.
Yes.
Correct. I mean, this is literally the antithesis of the prequels. On every production
Yeah.
component, this show is the opposite.
I mean, to
of
me,
the
that's
prequels.
what it should have been.
Yes.
Like
It's hard to-
everybody
it's hard-
that grew up with Star Wars is a little older.
Yeah.
Let's maybe make this a little smarter.
Yep.
And a little grittier.
Totally.
I mean-
it's hard to not believe that Gilroy had a little. I'm sure, obviously, his like real driving factor was getting the story right.
Yeah.
But he has to know that this is the opposite of what the prequels were.
I'm sure.
When putting this
Yeah.
together and creating the tone and the spirit of it and the levels of storytelling. Because if you recall, and this is one of my beefs with the prequels, is they got in the weeds on all the politicking and who's doing what, and it wasn't even always super clear to me. And this is 10 times more involved than that. But I'm not confused. It's crazy interesting and satisfying, and it pays
Yeah.
off. And more importantly, it builds tension. In the
Builds
prequels,
tension.
it was
Oh
just
my
like this
goodness.
thing that happened that allowed a big action sequence to
Yeah.
take place. Here, all these moves and people's allegiances and who people are doing what seems completely crucial to the next series of events, which won't necessarily be an action sequence, but that's the genius of the writing. It's like you
Yeah.
were saying, the tension is so real, even without a large set piece, you know?
Well, in the prequels, it was confusing. Like, I'm still confused about prequel stuff. Like, who the hell is Sifo-Dyas? Like, and like the clones and like
We
who's,
don't
like,
fucking know.
Like, and it's like, so it's
Correct.
just you're just mentioning people that you don't know, you never find out about. There's absolutely no character development. I find we've gotten better character development just in his cellmates.
Totally.
In the last episode
I
8.
know.
Yeah.
And I love there was a Mon Mothma. It's like. It's like, I've learned from Palpatine. It's like, you know, look at the stone in the hand, you miss the knife in the throat.
Yeah.
And that's just like the
But
like.
that's some Shakespeare shit.
It is.
But the
writing
rebellion
so
is,
smart.
and I think you said it. It's you've got these fighters. They're all separated right now, and you can't fight because there's no one to fight with. You have no
Yeah.
backing.
It's
and then
like,
you got this oppression, and so you got these small little kind of little.
That's
kind of-
the-
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, dude.
That's what I'm most excited about, and as the story plays out, is to see how these different factions of rebellion are going to work together. Because clearly, there's
Yeah.
like at this point, we're presented with 3 fundamental different schools of thought. Right?
Yeah.
You've got Mon Mothma, who's like, wait a minute, this is too much too soon. Luthens, who's like, well, I don't care how many people get burned. If this is what it
That's what he
takes
wants.
to get the rebellion in place, then let's get after it. And Saul Guerrero somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But Saul Guerrero is an extremist.
He is.
Yeah.
It's more like he's just distrustful of anybody outside of his little group.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Oh, sorry,
Dude, I just got one, which is, it's all interesting. And it also, this reminded me of what I heard George Lucas say in an interview that it's kind of like when you say, like, you don't know who to fight.
Yeah.
And it's a
Yeah.
little disjointed. Like, he was thinking about Vietnam and a small group of, like, factions
Yeah.
being able to like kind of fuck with the evil empire, which was kind of the U.S. military, which is this big, massive, almost unbeatable thing. But
I mean, I had the same thought.
get those motherfuckers in the jungle and start fucking with them.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry you even had to fucking go through that. I would have probably gone to Canada. Shout out to Muhammad Ali.
Bone Spurs.
But Andor tried to go to Canada. See what happened? I mean,
that's what he was
How'd
trying
that
to
work out for him?
He tried to bounce. He had all that money, 200,000. He thought,
Shacking up with some Canadian
but it's just
broads.
the smart storytelling where you're getting so much context, you're getting so much information every episode, and the way you're receiving the information is so well done.
Yeah.
And yet, I still, knowing the end game, I still don't know what's going to happen in these next 4 episodes and then the next 12. It's like, I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. That's
what makes it so smart is we know what's going to happen, but we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's
amen.
yeah.
I had totally forgotten from Rogue One Andor's like sort of funny droid buddy until the scene where they have the droids pick him up, and I thought to myself, oh, even if it's in the second season, are we going to get the moment where they reprogram one of these droids and that sidekick character will exist in the series?
He is in the character if you go to like Andor's
it's
character
super
list.
smart, and I
there.
loved that character. And I will say that's the only thing Andor's lacking so far is it doesn't even have a brief moment of comic relief really at any point. And so that droid might be a welcome. I don't want full comedy, but if there's a little funny droid clip,
B2 emo.
I guess that's right. There was the guy.
I love B2 emo.
You're right.
He does,
and that's and it rules.
He's like such a smart way of him. He's just like you just kind of feel for him versus him trying to like force jokes in.
Well, remember how emotional the scene in Rogue One was when that droid goes down and he's like holding everybody off with the controls and he's getting shot over and over again. He's like, go, go. And you're like, not the fucking droid.
That droid did it. That was a good droid.
They somehow managed to get you to wrap up so much of your emotion in these robots.
And who would have known those droids were so menacing when they were not deprogrammed?
Yeah.
Well, I think because they alluded to that when I think I think it was in Rogue One where they first, it's like, whoa, one of these droids? Like, whoa, shit, what the fuck is this thing doing here?
Right.
Yeah.
So
like,
that was an
fucker
interesting...
choked me out.
And I am so tempted to watch Rogue One, but I'm not going to watch it.
Thought. It'll be fun to save it till this is over.
Until it's all over.
Yeah.
I'm glad I watched it kind of right before all this.
And this is probably
Rogue One will be more fun.
Yeah. This is probably a thing that comes up in the animated series, but... If I recall, in Rogue One, Saul Guerrero's got like some sort of breathing apparatus.
Yeah, I was waiting to see when.
And he doesn't have it now.
No.
So
Right,
clearly
so he's
something,
probably getting into some scraps.
Yeah, whether it's this
shit.
season or the second, I imagine we're going to see some fights with
How
him.
many seasons are we getting to this?
2. But remember,
Damn, I do now wish it was 3.
first
I don't
season
know.
is
It's-
covering 1 year, the beginning of him getting into the rebellion properly, and the second season is going to cover the full 4 years leading up to Rogue One. So it's going to move big time jumps in the second season. That's what Gilroy was saying in that interview. So whatever pace we're at now will be much accelerated. And I have a hunch that means that's like battles, and there'll be more, like this is the rebellion coming together more or less. And my guess is in the second season, they'll start really sticking it to the Empire in a more meaningful way.
Do you think we'll
they
ever
gotta amp it
see Palpatine? Do you think we'll ever see any Force elements? Do you think we'll see any of this in this? I mean, he wasn't afraid to show Vader. I mean, basically, Gilroy gave us the best Vader sequence I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The Rogue One Vader sequence when he's going through that.
He didn't direct Rogue One.
He didn't?
He helped write it. He
Okay,
was one
heard that.
of a couple writers. So
A few people directed Rogue One, sort of. Like
And
there's
also-
a guy, and then like they brought in another guy.
Gareth Edwards or something like that, right? When
Yeah, and then they maybe brought some other guy to do more stuff.
And isn't it the case that the Vader scene was added at the last minute?
I believe so.
So I don't know who.
But thank God they did.
No, that scene is
It's pretty great.
It's probably my favorite. One of my
pretty great.
favorite. Just
They
in
did
terms
get
of
that right.
action.
That
for Vader.
is to like the Vader stuff is to what the Luke stuff is.
Yeah,
on,
to Mando.
It's
Yeah.
like we always
Short
knew
and
he
sweet.
could do it and wanted to see it and never got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we got a glimpse of like what these dudes can do
If he's the best of the best.
when they're kind of like on top of their operation.
Well, it's also safer with Vader because it's a costume, so you don't have to get into this like CG representation
Right.
and hope that works or not. Even though I will say Disney seems to be doing it better than anybody at the moment, but it's a lot easier. You just get a dude that's tall and stick him in the Vader costume and let him throw down.
For real. Even though somehow they screwed that up in Obi-Wan.
They
Don't get me
did.
started.
Well, Obi-Wan was just a mess. I
Yeah.
mean,
It was a mess,
said
dude.
it.
And this actually magnifies that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every
even
episode
like-
of this just continues to put a harsh light on that.
How does everything look so good in this, and like everything kind of looked cheap, and like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I mean, there's so many great visuals. That scene where they're first giving Karn the tour of where he's going to work, like there's the rows of like the essentially like sci-fi cubicles. Like that thing was really smart. Even just the rooms within the Empire, or the offices, or the conference rooms.
The interrogation room in the last one was just like, it's just so...
It all looks and feels like Star Wars, but is also really visually rich to your eyes.
It does. It looks like they may have been slightly inspired by George Lucas's first film, THX.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
11 something something.
Because there's a lot of long hallway shots.
Yeah. I mean, not fully, but some of
Yeah.
the prison and stuff looks like they might have gone THX with it.
It's just good.
It does give me more... I'm going to use a Blade Runner reference, and I don't know that it's specific to the set design, but just in the sort of subtle, nuanced, smart sci-fi sort of espionage vibe. Like it does just feel like really smart, edgy sci-fi, which I mean, outside of like Blade Runner, I don't know who's really attempted that in a meaningful way in the last 40 years, really.
Yeah, and nailed it.
Yeah, and done really well with it.
I like that new Blade Runner movie.
Visually,
the more I see it, the more I like it. Actually,
beautiful to look at.
The more I live with it, the more I like the film. I saw it in theaters, and I was like, it's good.
Here.
Yeah, I remember going to see it and then coming back, but...
Well, how are we doing, y'all? On time?
We're good on time. I'm just looking at my notes. Make sure.
I'm feeling good about this show.
Oh yeah, I've got a hot friend is named Biggs. Is that just a fun coincidence that they're having fun with that the girl's name is Biggs?
Right.
Her first name is Biggs.
Biggs?
Like the one on
his girl with the Tim.
Is it not
I think
G?
it's Bix. I think it's Bix.
Okay. All right, got it.
I think.
I had that in there. I was like, is this going to be some sort of nod, or is there... What did I write? Where's Luthen going? And then it was answered. I did a lot. It's funny because I did a lot of notes while watching the 7th episode, and a lot of them got answered in the 8th episode. I have... Who else do I have? Oh, yeah. What do we think about this subplot they allude to about him searching for his sister?
They kind of dropped it a little bit, didn't they?
Well, the old woman mentions
I forgot about it,
in
actually.
the 7th episode, when she's like, warned to stop, let it go. And clearly that's not going to be an unresolved story. So it's like, I wonder if we're going to find out that she's either going to already be in the rebellion in a meaningful way, or alternatively, she could even be in the Empire for that matter. I mean,
shit.
Because the way his mom brings it up, it's like, you need to forget about her.
Yeah,
it's almost kind of to me alluded like a Darth Vader thing. Oh no, your dad was killed by Darth Vader.
Right.
Just forget about it. Don't worry about it. Go kill Darth Vader. Don't think about it. It's kind of it's a very interesting point. I got that vibe of like, you need to forget about your sister. Stop doing it. It's almost like you don't want to know kind of vibe. That's a very good point.
I wondered about that. It's also the way they developed that character, the sort of mother figure. I would be surprised if she's known this whole time and just let him go all over on this search, and she's just like... It doesn't seem like she would let him be in harm's way if she knew that his sister was...
That's true.
Could just give him the answer.
Well, that's
But either way, it's clearly going to come back around one way or the other, and so that's fascinating to speculate.
It is fascinating.
Who she'll be, where she'll be positioned in the story. Sometimes I wonder if maybe we've already met this character.
Well,
we don't know.
I wonder if Vel, what's her name?
It could be the chick that works with Luthen, right?
Yeah, it could be her.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know anything about her background other than she's a fucking hard, cold-blooded badass for the rebellion. Because she's the one over there that's telling Homegirl, like, yeah, this is the way rebellions are formed. People are going to have to get hurt. There's going to have to be pain before we can do better.
Well, I forget what I was going to say, but it's like, no, I think we've talked about where you see shows and they do cutscenes to other characters, especially shows with so many characters, where it's like when they do cuts, it's like, I'm not interested in this storyline. Right. Cut back to this.
They're juggling a lot very well.
Every time they cut to any storyline in this show, I love it. Like I'm so invested in every character that's in
You're right.
Show.
That's a good point. I don't have any of these moments of like, this is the weakest plot line.
Right.
Can we get back to the one that's
And that happened a lot in the Lord of the Rings show. I love the Lord of the Rings show, but there were certain certain characters and certain plot lines that are just like, I wish you'd go back to this, but that has not happened.
Yeah, totally.
There's a lot going on in that Lord of the Rings show.
Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but this, I keep it's like, is it better than Mandalorian? Is it better? And it's like,
it's a different flavor.
It's such a flavor. I think it's right there, but it's just like, I'm so excited. Like every week, I'm like, is it Wednesday yet? Is it Wednesday yet?
Who would have known that they could have done this in Star Wars?
I had no idea.
Like they always have just gotten dumber.
Yeah, right.
They've never been like, let's just be smart and see how that fucking works.
Right. Totally.
I feel like they are like
totally.
I was
You're
worried
right.
with Kenobi.
It's weird though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you think about it.
Well, this is the show we've always been bitching about could exist, meaning you have all the money in the world. You can hire any script writer or director. Virtually every person that you would offer the job would likely take
wants
it.
to be in it.
95%
Who-
of these people are making movies because they saw Star Wars
Correct.
at a formidable age.
What filmmaker doesn't want to play in that sandbox?
And what actor doesn't want to be in
Yeah,
a Star Wars?
that's right.
The actors
yeah.
for sure, man.
It's almost like it's a nice proof of concept moment of like, yeah, see? If you just hire the talented people with all the money you have, we can get shit like this. which
It's
is
so
crazy
refreshing to
satisfying.
see all these, like, between this and the new Game of Thrones.
Which is awesome.
Say what you still will about the actual Game of Thrones, but the actors,
Oh,
the
they crushed
fuckers are
it.
great. And on this Andor, they're just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It-
I did get Game of Thrones, like the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones in my brain while watching this. Just, again, the level of storytelling, the multiple characters, who's going to come around to somebody else later. Like, it feels like those early seasons where there were so many stories spread out all over that world that it's like that. It's that level storytelling, and that's something we've literally never had.
Yeah, and the feel.
In any of Star Wars, and even in the original trilogy, because there was only 3 movies, you can only get so detailed. No one's ever taken a full 24 hours, meaning 2 seasons of hour-long episodes, to tell a Star Wars story before.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And
Literally
the uncertainty. Like in a good Game of Thrones or whatever, it's like in Game of Thrones, you never know if someone's about to just get their head caught off or what.
That's right.
And you feel the uncertainty.
That
in
John
the show.
Stark moment, like, really
Yeah.
set the fucking.
Well, and it feels
Yeah,
like that here too.
What's gonna? Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. That's
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
comparison with Game of Thrones. Is I don't know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
Is this like what's gonna
Andor,
happen?
he's the only one you know is
It's
safe.
the
till the end
only
of it.
person, and Mon Mothma obviously makes
Right,
it to
correct.
Return of the Jedi.
Right.
But I did see an article saying it's like, is this gonna change? Like Andor changes, kind of narrative for original trilogy, and it's like maybe. But I think Kenobi did far more damage than this could ever do.
I don't see how this.
Yeah, how would this be changing?
and this is-
But
that-
I don't
we're
know. I
just
was
so
kind of reading
sensitive.
it. I think people are.
That's
I
one of the
don't know
only
what the
things we care
consensus
about,
is on this.
and it's never came up.
Well, I think that's
No.
part of what's smart about him being Gilroy, choosing this era, an area of the Star Wars world to focus on, because we were never really told. All the backstory nitty gritty was always related to Jedi. Mm-hmm. And so, in terms of the detail and the nuance of how the rebellion was formed, it's just open.
Yeah.
And they saw that opening. They're like, okay, we're going to
genius
just
opening.
make a really smart, like he said in his own words, a war and peace type story. I
it
mean,
is,
that's to me
yeah.
where I'm most excited. I'm really excited to see how the different factions are going to come together.
Yeah.
Like, and who are so we have Luthen, Saul Guerrero, Mon Mothma, and then the people we know that
There's
work
a new
under
guy.
them.
What's
Yeah.
his name? Oh.
And then
but
there's
is it
Andor,
Tay?
who's
Yeah.
Tay
kind
is
of a rogue
the,
cat.
is the new guy. I'm interested, and just like we say, the tension when Tay, who's the new guy that Mon Mothma brings in to try to get funding for the rebellion, how you sense the fear when she goes to her husband. Where's Tay? He left. He had to leave,
Yeah.
and she's kind of has that look of panic on
Yeah.
her, like
Yeah.
and. Her husband, it's like you can
That
tell
dude,
he's
by the
kind
way,
of
is
squirmy.
clearly going to fuck her over at
Oh
some
yeah,
point.
her husband's
Yeah,
gonna
he's
screw her
kind
big
of.
time.
Yeah, she mentioned it. Don't trust the son of a bitch.
Yeah. That's definitely going to be a thing that happens at some
I mean,
stage.
they like context of story. They got married when she was 15, and like it was kind of an arranged marriage situation. He could care less about. He just wants to live, I think this posh
Dude.
life, and
Obviously, Andor becomes very important to this movement because they
Yes.
trust him with his their biggest mission.
yeah. Well, they're trying to kill him now. They're trying to find Andor. Luthen wants Andor dead
Because he knows.
That's what
who
I'm saying.
Luthen
That's
is.
what's really interesting for me right now is how they're going to resolve
Yep.
that. Hey, we don't need to kill this dude. He's not a threat. He could actually just be a huge asset to the
Yeah.
cause. So there's going to be
Yeah,
some
Luther
sort
is
of.
kind of a fucking
I mean,
metal ass
straight
dude.
up,
He's
I wouldn't be
metal as
surprised if by the end of the first season, Andor could kill Luthen.
Yeah,
And then, maybe even like sort of supersede him
Dude,
in
like
that role.
there might be like a
a handoff set,
like
solo
a bat,
situation.
like some turmoil within the
Yeah.
actual
Yeah.
rebellion.
That's what I'm saying. There already is. Because
There
clearly
already
we
is,
know
yeah.
Andor ends up being important to the
True.
rebellion. But at the moment, he's enemy number 1. They literally have assassins out looking for his ass.
Damn, dude, these motherfuckers are nailing it, and I'm just happy to
I'm
be around,
excited.
and
That's
also
what-
just like stoked that it's fucking like that we have something to sit up here and talk about
Yeah.
that we like.
I mean, and the only other note I had was just a repeat of how great the costume design is.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, the more you
Even
see
the
like the
boots.
Coruscant and the boots, it's like all the different areas of the world from the most gritty to the most elegant. It's top-notch costume design. I mean, we've talked about it at length. The production across the board is, aces. But man, the costumes are really smart.
CG is the CG.
Yeah.
The computer graphics is so good.
I mean, you almost don't. Again, for three nerds that look at this shit and dissect it, I don't think about it.
Yeah.
I watch these episodes now, and I'm not analyzing the effects. I'm just along for the ride.
They're
I'm
finally at the
be
point
there.
with this computer stuff that if they have the time and the money and the talent, it actually doesn't take you out of it.
No.
Yeah, and the right lighting and presenting. It's like they
Nothing's
know
right,
how to
yeah.
do it to where it won't show the seams.
They're adding new elements to the Star Wars world that feel like Star Wars, which is very difficult to do.
Yeah,
It ain't easy, y'all.
We love it. We want to hear your comments about it. We love when we hear from our followers and fans. We're all in this together. We're all
It's
scandals.
a slow burn, but we're having
Yeah,
fun.
send us videos.
This is our
I
hobby.
think we got a new Jacob Reeves. He's
that's
he
right.
contacted us. He sent us pictures of his collection of Star Wars toys and just all kinds of.
Do we want
cool
to
stuff.
show a little bit of his collection
we'll show
right
some
now?
of the stuff
Throw
up
some
here.
of his shit on the
So
old screen.
if you have anything Star Wars related, you have any questions, you think we're stupid, let us know. Send in your questions, comments.
Paul at scoundrelswebseries.com. Email your videos, anything like that.
We're on Instagram.
Just like our boy Armando. Shout out to Armando.
Hello.
We'll get you up on the screen, get you in the mix.
He's the fourth scoundrel.
Yeah,
He is.
Hell yeah.
And we got to say it because it is real. There's a reason everyone says like and subscribe.
Yep.
You get fucking hammered by the algorithm. The more you do that, the more it helps us grow and the more people can get in the mix. So
Fuck Al and his
please
algorithm.
do all the things. All the things.
Awesome. I'm
That's
pumped.
it, man. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
I'm stoked.
We'll
Y'all
get
wanna-
one up. You want to try to do? Let's do one episode next week.
We'll
cover
try to
it.
do, yeah.
We're gonna try to get
We
back.
are
on
actually
going to
do an episode next week.
We're gonna
Episode
try to get
9,
back in the rhythm.
and then we'll just hone in on it.
I bet my dick on it.
There you go. Well, bet your dick and punch it.
Pew!